Hello everyone, welcome back to a new episode of The Console Log. This is the week of October 30th through November 5th. Halloween was this past week. I hope you had a good Halloween, dressed up as a scary type error, hopefully, for your Halloween costume. But there were some fun things that happened this week, so let me tell you about it right now. So there's this thing called the template tag, which you might have used in the past. It's a relatively new feature for the web, but it mostly is used for templating purposes, and it's pretty inert, which means that you can put template contents inside of it, and you can clone it and attach it to your DOM, but past that, it really doesn't do anything that much. Well, this past week, Apple proposed a new API to the template tag that allows it to kind of behave like a Mustache template. Now this is pretty cool. This is still, again, theoretical. This is something that would happen way down the line. By that I mean like 6 months to a year or a year plus. But what this would essentially let you do is take a template and then create an instance of that template, just like a handlebars or mustache template, and then append that into the DOM. And that's pretty easy. You can do that right now with inner HTML. But where things get a little bit more interesting is that there is a new update method that allows you to then discreetly update that template with the new interpolated values, just like Mustache, handlebars, and a little bit like React, Angular, and those frameworks as well. The thought behind this is that it's actually going to be a building block that other frameworks could use to then make their own easy implementations of updating the browser for your applications. This is, again, very theoretical. It's a proposal. It's at the early stages, but it's pretty exciting to see userland things that people have made just in JavaScript start getting pulled into more concrete browser APIs potentially. I'll keep you updated if this thing changes or anything like that, but it's pretty damn exciting. That would be very cool to see. Everybody likes lists, myself included. I'm back with a new one from Stack Overflow again. They've had a new blog post about the most disliked programming languages, and not too surprising. The most disliked language was Perl, sadly, followed by Delphi, which I have never even seen a line of code of Delphi, VBA, and then PHP, Objective-C, CoffeeScript, and Ruby. You can see it all in this graph over here. Just kind of weird to see that actually in like a more statistical form. And again, this is just representative of the Stack Overflow community, so that's not every engineer, but it's definitely a good swath of engineers. The least disliked languages are also the ones that seem to be the ones that are growing the fastest, is what they note in the blog post, and those are R, Python, TypeScript, and Go. So hopefully you enjoy the language that you use, whether it be liked or disliked. JavaScript's somewhere in the middle. It's very fast growing, but also fine in terms of people's likes and dislikes. I like it a lot though. Big news in the land of Node. Node 9 was released, which is exciting, but even more exciting in my opinion is that Node 8.9.0 was moved to LTS. LTS being long-term support, which means that this is the version of Node that is going to be supported by the Node community and vendors for the next year. So that means if you do depend on Node for your main applications, it is now safely time to upgrade to Node 8. And Node 8 was a huge upgrade from Node 6 with things like async await and all these ES6 features that I can't even enumerate. It actually makes you feel like you can not even need to use Babel with your Node applications, and that's even more exciting. So Node 8.9 LTS, Node 9 is now the new development branch. It'll never go to LTS because they do every even odd pattern. The big things with Node 9 is not too exciting in terms of features, but it's a lot of garbage collection in terms of deprecated APIs, and they're also trying to unify the way in which Node does errors. And that'll be good to get that in place because as Node grows, having a unified system for exposing errors to userland applications will make your applications a lot easier to maintain. So if you are using Node in your day-to-day applications or just anywhere in your toolchain, upgrade to Node 8. It is ready and safe to do so. Also in the land of releases, we have Angular 5.0 went to final this past week. Angular 5, I don't really follow that much nowadays, but I do find it interesting to keep up to date on what they are working on. And there definitely seems to be a lot of focus in this 5.0 release on their compiler. The big thing here is that they've actually done a lot of work on the compiler pipeline, which now saves, according to the blog post, 95% of the build time. That means they have the Angular.io website went from a 40-second build to a less than 2-second incremental build, which is very awesome because I know that pain of having to wait 40 seconds or just more than 10 seconds for something to build before I start to lose interest. That old joke about, hey, what are you doing? Oh, waiting for being compiling. You don't want that on the browser if you can avoid it. So that's awesome to see that Angular is investing that time in that performance. And last but not least, let's talk about everybody's favorite subjects. Emojis. That's right. There was a big BuzzFeed article this past week about the great poop emoji feud that occurred. This article was both very entertaining, but also it had some very interesting points in there. There seems to be a conflict between the Unicode consortium, responsible for the Unicode standard, and the Emoji Committee, where the Emoji Committee keeps suggesting emojis that are a little bit more cutesy for the Unicode Committee's desires, and there is this tug of war going on. And in this particular example, it's about the poop emoji, where the emoji committee is saying, oh, we should have a smiley poop. And Unicode is saying, why? Why do you need to have, sorry, not a smiley, a frowning poop? They're like, why do you need a frowning poop? We're going to have then a kissy face poop? Like, where does this end? And also, this is not really helping the Unicode's desire to make it easier to have unified languages. So there's definitely a tug of war going on. It's more of a philosophical one, and I kind of side with the Unicode side of this because Unicode is very important to make sure that you can access the same language throughout everywhere, and muddying it with just cutesy emojis definitely reduces its value. On the other hand, it is just a frowning poop emoji, but again, that's where the cards have fallen so far. So read the article if you are interested. It was pretty interesting, this whole behind-the-scenes look at how emojis can become Unicode standards and the tension that might erupt from there. Okay, that was your console log show for this past week. Hopefully you have learned some things that are interesting to you. If you are not already a subscriber, please do subscribe below. I'm looking to try to get some more evergreen content up on this channel as well, a little bit more deep dives into tech that I talk about. That's still to come. I have to find some topics and the time to actually record that videos, but that is something to look forward to. So for now, have a good upcoming week, and I will see you then. Ciao.